What is up, guys? Welcome on back to the channel, and welcome to another edition of the NFL mock draft. And if you've never been here, welcome. If you've never seen one of my mock drafts, I typically just, if I'm doing this one here as if I'm sitting in the GM seat for all of the teams, not for what I think the teams are going to do. I know the teams are probably going to draft differently than what I would do. I just think it's an interesting twist on mock drafting. Most mock drafts are, what do you think the teams are going to do? There's not really any trades involved in this unless the computer offers me one. And I want to make things interesting. Sorry, I just woke up. But yeah, let's start, man. So first we have the Raiders here. Obviously, the more I see this guy, the more I think he's an actual franchise quarterback, and it's Mendoza. I know his stats where people are talking about, like, they're crying about, oh, Mendoza's stats weren't as good as Cam Ward's. Yeah, well, Cam Ward was the first pick too. But when I see Mendoza, he has NFL quarterback written all over him. He can do everything. I like his demeanor. He's got a good arm. I think he's a cerebral guy. I think that's what we need to really start prioritizing in the NFL. There's too many quarterbacks that play sandlot in the NFL. But and they can work out, but they take longer time to develop. Like, is it Caleb Williams? I think he's been incredible this year. I think he literally should be like the NFL MVP, in my opinion. Well, Stafford's going to be, but like Caleb Williams needs to be right up there, because if they didn't have Caleb Williams, they wouldn't be doing as good as they are. Now, the Bears are talented, but Caleb Williams, I've seen a few games of his. He's been fucking awesome. But those guys typically don't work out. All right, and I got to give him his flowers, because I wasn't sure about him. I wasn't sure. I'm like, he can either be like the best quarterback in the league, or he can be dog shit. And he's turning out to be one of the better quarterbacks in the league. Painted fingernails and everything. But yeah, I like him a lot. He's actually one of my favorite players right now. All right, New York Jets. So, if I'm the Jets, I know a lot of people are mocking Dante Moore there. The more I see Dante Moore, the more I do not think he's a first-round pick. And I would not put my franchise on him, but the Jets are going to. That's why they're the Jets. If I'm the Jets, I don't think there's a quarterback out there really worth taking this high besides Mendoza, which the Raiders are not going to pass on him unless someone moves up and drafts someone else. So if I'm the Jets, I'm focusing on defense, offensive line, the traditional stuff to start building your franchise. It's just kind of simple. To me, and the one guy that's really kind of a plug and play at a position that you should be drafting high, is Rueben Bain. Now, I'm going to warn, as far as production, I don't think he's a 20-sack guy or anything like that. I do think he can be a 10-sack guy, but I think he's very physically gifted. I think he can set the edges for the run. He's a really, really good centerpiece for your defense and a good starting spot to really turn that defense around. So I really, really like Rueben Bain a lot. I know you can do Alvarez, you can do maybe a Carnell Tate or something like that. Caleb Downs. The only reason why I would consider Caleb Downs there, because he's kind of like, to me, like Malachi Starks was my, hey, he's an NFL player playing college, just plug and play him. So guys like that are really good to put on teams who aren't very good, because, in my opinion, because it just makes the coaching staff's job a little bit easier. And just putting talent in your locker room is really what you need to be doing. So I know people are going to gasp at that pick. But I really, truly think the Jets are talented. They can build on their talent, and they can get a quarterback somewhere else. You can get a quarterback. I mean, look, they dug up Phillip Rivers out of high school, coaching high school, and the guy came out and was throwing for 300, 400 yards in the game. So, I don't think you need I don't think you need to draft a project this high. Now, if he drops, or if he drops down, you can grab them later, but we'll see what happens. So the Cardinals, it's funny because the Cardinals, I don't know what's going on with them. I don't know if they're keeping their quarterback. I don't know if they're letting him go. Personally, this is a spot I would consider more at, because I do think the Cardinals, they don't have another pick. They are talented, but I don't know where they're going to get a quarterback from. I'm assuming they're keeping Murray. If I'm the Cardinals, I probably would keep Murray. I don't think there's a ton of other choices. I don't think Dante Moore is good enough to get rid of Murray to get, but he might be. He might be. I just think the Cardinals are in the business of getting talent and not reaching for a quarterback, in my opinion. And I think he's a reach. If I'm them, I'm just gonna grab. Let's grab a football player. Let's grab Alvin Reese. Let's just grab Reese and just put good football players in our locker room. I hate to say it, but just put good, smart players in the locker room. If I'm the Titans, I'm gonna grab. To me, the best receiver in the draft, in my opinion, is Jordan Tyson. And I think if you gotta add some for Cam Ward. I think if you give Cam Ward some weapons, he'll be really good. I think there's some young quarterbacks out there that I was not wrong on, but that I wasn't sure about that actually could end up all being like catalysts for NFL quarterbacks. I think Cam Ward literally can be one of them. I think he can be really, really, really good. I didn't think last year he was worth the first pick, but I think with the quarterbacks being so bad in the NFL right now, there's just bad. The quarterbacks are bad. Now, hear me out on this one. It looks to me like Joe Burrow is unhappy in Cincinnati. If I'm the Raiders, or I think the Raiders and the Bengals need to have a conversation about that first pick and Joe Burrow. I really do. If they don't be surprised if the Raiders grab a veteran coach and that something like that starts rumbling, where it's like Burrow for the first pick kind of deal. Now, that there might be more involved in that. I don't know how valuable Burrow is right now. But I think that'd be an interesting thing to happen for people to talk about. And I think it's not something that, if the Bengals called the Raiders, they'd probably jump all over it. And then you start over with a guy who I think could be a complete franchise guy. Now, whether or not he'd want to play there, it's a different story, because who the fuck wants to play in that fucking goddamn organization? Putting on that uniform's fine, but playing for those owners just would be terrible. All right, the Giants, they've already got their quarterback. Look at their needs. Corner, defensive tackle, linebacker. I don't think there's anything regarding their needs that outweighs right now getting another receiver. Darnell Tate. Just go grab Darnell Tate. Guy can high point the ball. He'll be great next to Neighbors. He'll probably be the number one receiver because Neighbors can't stay healthy. So that's kind of where I'd go. That's where I'd go. The Browns, in my opinion, Dante Moore's not worth picking. I think that whoever comes in is going to go with Shedeur, because I think that he showed flashes of being really good. I watched his tape I watched two of his games pretty extensively, and I actually liked what I saw out of him. I think his teammates let him down a lot, and I do think he can be pretty good. I do like Shedeur Sanders actually a lot. He's a pocket quarterback. He seems to be pretty smart for a rookie. Now, he's played like a rookie, but he played like one that's got promise. So if I'm the Browns, I'm not reaching for a quarterback here or putting another one in the room. It's not necessary right now. And I don't think the quarterbacks are very good in the draft this year, to be blunt. So the Browns, they're needing offensive line, receiver. God, every single offensive line position they need. That's pretty crazy. So, if I'm them, I'm just going to grab Muaga. Because I think the Browns are should be more of a power team right now, especially with the colder weather and everything. I think Malagua? I don't know how you say his name, so I keep saying Malaga. But this guy here is really good. I like him a lot. He's not a polished pass protector. He's more of a right tackle, but he's kind of a plug and play. You put him in and you're good there. All right, Washington. I've been putting this guy here for a while, but now there's other players that have dropped. There's a guy in this draft that I really like. There's two of them I really, really like here. I don't know who the Washington coach is going to be. If I'm Washington, we've got the quarterback. I really, truly think their quarterback can be really, really good. I think he needs to be a little bit more of a pocket pass. I think these guys who are athletic need to be pocket passers, but then use their legs when they need to. That's what I think. Jaden Daniels does not need to be running 10 times a game. He just doesn't need to be doing that. So it says they need wide receiver here. I don't know where I'd go here, to be honest. They can go a million different directions. They can go a million different directions here. But if I'm them, I'm going to grab David Bailey. He's my favorite edge in the draft. I think he's a pure edge. I think his ceiling is really high. So if I'm watching, I mean, I'm grabbing David Bailey or I'm grabbing Caleb Downs. Or maybe like a Makai Lemon. I love Makai Lemon, but I think this draft is not very, it's not very edge rich. So grabbing an edge like that would be good, I think. So Washington would grab the edge if I were there. The Saints, if I'm there. Now we're running into a little bit of a quandary here. This is where I would consider someone like a Dante Moore. You've got a 27-year-old rookie who played well. You can play that guy. Moore can learn under him and then take over after a year. There is Kendrick Falk there. If you want, do you want Shook or whatever his name? I think his name is Shook. Do you want him as your future? I don't think so. Shook just looks like a very good backup and a bridge quarterback to me. So if I'm the Saints, Dante Moore drops down. I'm grabbing Moore because I think Moore would benefit from somewhere he can go where he can kind of learn. He's just not quite there yet. He doesn't have the experience. When I watch him play, he's very inconsistent. Now he's very good. I love his game. He's accurate. He can throw. He's athletic. He's got everything you want. I just don't think he's a, hey, put him in and just let him fail guy. I don't. He could be. He could be that guy. I don't know. But from what I've seen on the film, I haven't interviewed him or anything like that. But from what I've seen, he just needs more time. He needs, he needs more time to kind of mature mentally as far as the game goes. Not, he could be a good person off the field and smart. I don't know. But anyway, so Dante Moore to the Saints, I think it would be a great fit. All right, so the Chiefs, I think the Chiefs majorly need a rehaul on defense. I think they have the best defensive coordinator in the league. And they do need a pass rush desperately. I don't know if Kendrick Falk is a stand-up edge, but at this point, you just draft him. You could draft Peter Woods too, but you draft Kendrick Falk as an edge, and you just kind of coach him up and deal with it. I think he's got the ability to kind of do whatever you want to do. What I've seen in his film is he's not overwhelmingly great, but he's very solid. You can put him in right away. He'll play very well. I don't know if he's going to be a 20-sack guy. I have no idea. I don't know if he's, a TJ Watt or something like that, but you put him on a team like the Chiefs, they're instantly better. Now, I do know there's, you can go grab a receiver or whatever, but I think that stuff you can grab later on. But anyway, the Bengals, defensive tackle, edge, corner. I just think that they need a little bit of a restart, to be honest, especially on defense. Their number one needs defensive tackle. Just go grab Peter Woods. I mean, they've got so many needs. Just go grab an anchor. All right, Miami Dolphins, corner, quarterback, guard, tight end, wide receiver. Now, there's a receiver there that I think the Dolphins would desperately need a receiver. I think they desperately need a corner. But with a new regime and starting completely over from scratch, I feel like you grab one of the offensive linemen. I don't know how good Fano is. I really don't. I'd have to really do some. His anchor footwork needs work. Yeah, he seems light to me, which I don't like that. Especially Miami needs to get bigger and more physical, in my opinion, on the offensive line. They do need a guard, which this really good guard is sitting right here. Yeah, 6'4", 330. Do you build up the offensive line? Do you grab Sonny Styles? He's got a lot of promise. Do you grab McCoy, Delane? The more I watch Delane, the more I like him. Do you grab a Makai Lemon, who would be great there? I don't know what they're doing. So if I'm hitting the restart, and I'm assuming we're getting rid of or I shouldn't say that word. We're letting go to Tyreek's going to be replaced. I'm assuming they're going to strip everything down. The only person I think they keep is Fitzpatrick, Mika Fitzpatrick, and I'm gonna be honest with you. This one's a tough one for me. This one's a tough one because there's a lot of players out there. There's a lot of players out there. And you can grab a plethora of them. You can grab a Makai Lemon. You can grab a Delaney. You can grab a Eon. But I guess as of today, if I'm picking, I'm building through the offensive line. I'm grabbing Proctor out of Alabama. You put him on the other side, 6'6", 369. You put him on the other side of Patrick Paul. You have just two mammoth fucking tackles, like just mammoth. Patrick Paul's like 6'7", 340. You put him on the other side. You have like one of the biggest, most physical offensive lines in the league, and you can grab guards elsewhere. But I just think Miami's in the business of. I mean, like you can go wherever you want. You can go Caleb Downs. You can go Fano, Lemieux, Lemon. I mean, you can just close your eyes and pick one of those guys and just get the Dolphins back on the right track. But to me, I just think you need to really anchor that offensive line down. And I do like the offensive line. I think it started playing well. But, I mean, there's nothing wrong with adding a 370-pound, 6'6", 370-pound fucking monster on your offensive line. There's just there's no reason to not do that. All right, the Cowboys. If I'm the Cowboys, I like Sonny Styles. But I think Caleb Downs is more NFL ready right now. And I'm going to grab Caleb Downs. I think the Cowboys are in the bit. I really think the Cowboys aren't that far away from being pretty good. I really don't. I think they're very talented. I think the Cowboys they're having a hard time finding the right pieces. And I think Downs is a plug and play, right piece kind of guy. I do think they have a top, 8 quarterback in the league. I really think if you watch Dak Prescott, he might even be higher. Dak Prescott his career is almost being not wasted there, but man, he is. Every time I watch him, I'm like, man, he's fucking good. No one talks about him. Like if you watch him through the eyes of how a quarterback should be playing, he's one of the better quarterbacks in the league. Now I see why Dallas has a hard time letting him go. I think he's excellent. All right, so the Rams corner tackle. So now they have the pick of the fucking litter here. Corner tackle. Tight end, wide receiver, center. If I'm the Rams, they're going to have the NFL's MVP for another season or two. I'm going to grab Fano. Put some size on him. You can probably plug and play him. They don't even really need to. They could have him sit on the bench for a year and get size. I think he's too small. He's a little small and light on his feet, from what I've seen of him. But he's got a massive upside. So, yeah, if I'm the Rams, I'm just going to grab offensive line. The Ravens, similar situation. They need to, if they're going to keep Jackson, which I think they are, they need to start rebuilding around Lamar Jackson. They need to start rebuilding that defense. This is one reason why I hate the 34 defense. The 34 defense is never dominant. It's always above average at best. I don't like it. I like the concept of a 34 defense. But it's really difficult to build it right. It's extremely difficult to build it right. You're always needing something. There's always a player that doesn't fit. Always. I watched the Dolphins try to go to a 34 defense for years, and it just never worked right. The defense was always solid, but it never worked right. And I can't remember the last 34 defense that was an overly dominant defense. A lot of the most consistent defenses are 43, or they run nickel or whatever, but 34 is really hard because you have to find 3 tackles who can take up 2 gaps. You've got to get a bunch of 270-pound linebackers. You've got to get edges that are just really pure elite off the edges, or you got to get safeties who can blitz. You have to have 2 corners who are just lockdown island corners. It's very difficult to build that defense right. I mean, you have to put all of your resources into defense to make that defense really honestly run the way it's supposed to. So I hate the fucking 34 defense as a base, especially when a franchise is changing over. The 43 is just an easier defense to run. You just run a multiple line. But anyway, I'll get off my tangent on that. I really think that the Ravens need to start building around Lamar Jackson's arm and not his legs, because I think he's getting older. And if I'm them, I'm grabbing Love. I know they have Derrick Henry, but he's older. Jeremiah Love can come and step in. You can do what you need to do with Henry. Keep him or let him go. But I think they're in the business of putting really good players around. Now you can put Makai Lemon there, who I love, which is fine. Which is fine. You can put anybody else there with the Ravens, who I like. I just think the Ravens are they're another one of those teams who they probably should be drafting higher. I don't think they're very good. I don't think the Ravens are very good at all. I think they're slow. I think they're old. I think whoever you want to put up on this board, I'm happy with. I'm good with. If they didn't have Lamar Jackson, that team would be picking top 5. I'm sorry, they would just be picking top 5. They're not very talented. Like the Dolphins are looking for a head coach. I don't want Tomlin, and I don't want Harbaugh either. I don't want either one of them. I think they've struggled. I think they both have struggled putting a team together. Now they're going to be very good at putting a staff together, which is a very underrated trait for a coach. But the Dolphins are in the business of getting people who can get the right players in the building. Plus, they run that fucking disgusting 34. I hate 34 defense. I absolutely hate it. I don't mind it as a change of pace. 2nd and 6, maybe throw a 34 in there with some athletic linebackers or something. But it's just, unless you're just a bunch of 330-pound guys who are good at... It's so hard to find a defensive lineman who can take up 2 gaps. It is extremely difficult, and they're expensive. That's why those defenses don't ever fucking work, because they're slapping guys in the system that don't fit. That's a systems defense. And everyone's running it. Everyone's running the 34 defense, and they're all failing. Anyway. The good old Buccaneers are up. Now, there's a guy here I would probably, now looking at it, consider drafting. Because he's there. Hold on. All right, guys. Sorry about that. I probably have to transition that or edit that because I have my window open and my dog's barking at people. So anyway, sorry about that, guys. All right, so I think the Buccaneers are in this. I think the Buccaneers think they're closer than they are. I think that their talents are like above average. I think they got the right guy last year in the receiver. I love their quarterback, but I do think that they're kind of having to start to shed their skin a little bit as far as their older players. So they can go in a bunch of different directions here. They're going to lose Godwin, and I think they're going to lose Evans. And I think that Makai Lemon would fit very, very well with that other receiver. I forget his name, Igbuka. And you put Igbuka with Lemon. That's a nice combo. Igbuka's a bigger 6'2" receiver. Lemon's like I think he's kind of like to me when I watch him, he looks like an Amon-Ra St. Brown kind of mold. He looks a little bit bigger, but he's more of like an aggressive blocker and shit like that. He's a great football player. And I think he'd really fit, Baker Mayfield in that offense. I think that'd be a really good spot. So I do think they're going to lose. They're going to have to start shedding these big contracts and stuff that aren't worth it anymore. And I do think that I think Mike Evans is going to be a free agent. They could sign him, but I think he's up for contract. So I would just let Evans go and go grab Makai Lemon and go from there. All right, the Jets, we grabbed an edge, and now the defensive tackle, wide receiver, edge, safety. Like I said, that they're in the business of not being picky and just grabbing the best football players available. And if I'm them, I'm grabbing a corner, and I'm going to grab Delane. I think he's the best defensive guy available. So now I think you've put 2 cornerstones of defense on your team, or possible cornerstone. He's got all the talent in the world. I don't know if he'll be good, but he's got all the talent in the world. So I think that's part of. Hold on, the site's acting up. Yeah, 6 foot 210. He can play safety later on for Love. Never mind, Love. What is this? Okay. What is this thing doing? I didn't even click on that guy. All right, the Lions. The Lions, I think are another season like this away from their coach being let go. I feel like for a couple of years now, they have not. I thought they started off really well. And the more he loses coaches, the less the team is successful, which is not a good sign. Now you can turn it around fairly easily. But they need all offensive line positions, which is absolutely mind-boggling for all the draft picks they've had. And I just think they're in the business of kind of going back to basics a little bit. And if I'm them, I'm just going to grab the best offensive lineman available on this board here. I don't know if it's on their board, but on this board, I'm grabbing the tackle, Lemieux, and protecting the quarterback and blocking for the running back. Simple as that. All right, the Vikings' number one need is corner. You have a top corner, in my opinion, available. I love Jermon McCoy. He's 1B in this draft. I would just run the card up to grab McCoy. I don't know why the site's acting up. I did this last time. I think I did a mock draft. All right, the Panthers are on the ascent. So they're in the business of getting another team in the business of just getting good players and putting them on the team. They need edge, safety, corner, tackle, tight end. Huh. I wouldn't reach for Blake Miller here unless I interviewed him and he blew me away. Sonny Styles is good, but he might be a good fit there, actually. I like Sonny Styles a lot. He just looks unpolished to me. He does like Sonny Styles needs to go to a team where he's kind of in the mix, not necessarily the main guy. But I said that about McMillan last year. I wasn't sure if that was a good pick for them, and McMillan ended up being like the best player in the draft. They do need a corner. Terrell's sitting right there. I love this guy. Terrell's there. They need a tight end. Kenyon Sadiq. The problem with Kenyon Sadiq is he's not a full-time tight end, in my opinion. He's more like a slot receiver. Like he's a really good tight end to put as like two receiver set with a tight end kind of in the seam in the slot with another tight end there blocking. That's kind of what he's like. If you want to run an offense like that, you can actually run the offense around him like that. But I just think Sadiq's value is going to drop because he's only about 235 pounds. Pitts could be available. I think he's up for contract, but I don't know if he's going to be re-signed. He's going to need a big contract, and someone's going to give it to him. So let's say someone like the Panthers, they go out and they don't spend a lot of money and they go get Kyle Pitts. Sadiq wouldn't even be considered there. But so if I'm them, I'm just going to grab Terrell. Just go grab a corner and just keep making that defense stingy as shit. Cowboys have another pick. Linebacker, corner, edge, safety. This is where you grab Styles. This is just where Sonny Styles would and should probably be going. I think he's going in the right spot. I think he's going at the right number. I think he's going to the right team here. I think this everything about that fits. I don't think he should be going up here. And you can put Sonny Styles in that defense. They do need players to kind of build around, but he doesn't have to be the main number one guy. He just doesn't have to be. They've got a lot of the Cowboys defense has talent. They just have to put it together. They just have to put it together. It's just, I don't know what they need to do, but they've got talent. Sonny Styles would just inject them with more talent and make them better. All right, the Steelers, they're starting all over again. If I like Ty Simpson, I would probably grab him here. It's tough. Ty Simpson's tough to tell if he's good or not. When I watch him through the lens of kind of just watching a quarterback, he's good. He's good, but I don't know if he's a franchise guy. I don't know if he is. It's really hard for me to tell. I don't think there's a lot of franchise quarterbacks in this draft. I think this is the draft where you grab other things because other things are very good. And I think that this guard here is a great fit there. And I just think that the Steelers are in a rebuild, and you just put the best guy there. I think he can come in right away and play well. I think the Steelers need to become a running team until they figure out their quarterback, and I think he'd be perfect. He'd be perfect. You know, to me, you go get your receivers and shit after you get your quarterback established. So they need to get a quarterback established. They have Will Howard, who I actually really like. I'd like to see what he can do, because I do think that he can be good. I don't know if he will be, but I think he can be good. But that's neither here nor there. All right, the Chargers, if I'm the Chargers, I need to move up. They need to move up in the draft to go get a lineman. There's not a ton of linemen left here where they're picking. And they need a lineman badly. They need an offensive lineman badly. The problem is they need other things too. That's the problem. So it's kind of hurting them if they need an offensive lineman so badly. But I guess the best player available to need is McDaniels. I remember McDonald. But if I'm the Chargers, I'm looking to move up to go grab a lineman, one of those linemen up there. I'm looking to move up in the top 10, but you're going to have to give up a lot. So you may as well just stay pat, grab that, and then do what you can free agency. Later on, just focus on all offensive line. But McDonald, like, to me, the first round pick needs to be a guy that's a plug and play starter, not a reach. Not a reach. So, I mean, unless you're a team that's already kind of established, then you can grab that project, that overly athletic project. But I'd grab McDonald here reluctantly because we need an offensive lineman, unless one of these offensive linemen blew me away unless Blake Miller blew me away in an interview or something like that. All right, Eagles. If I'm the Eagles, they have Jalen Hurts. I'm not the biggest Jalen Hurts fan, but I think the Eagles are a massive Jalen Hurts fans, and I've been making this pick with the mindset of keeping Hurts. So they need a tight end. Sadiq's good there. They already have Goddard. Sadiq just adds another weapon, and it's just another top tier player that drops right into their lap. The Eagles are the luckiest fucking team in the league. All right, the Browns, quarterback, tackle, guard. We grabbed a tackle before. Wide receiver, center. So you're telling me they don't need any defense? I think that's bullshit. I think they need defensive players. I don't think that they're so stacked they don't need defense. I don't think that's the case. What are we grabbing for them? We grab them offensive lineman. You know, let's grab a receiver. KC Concepcion. This guy's really good. I don't know if he's a first round pick, but he's definitely a solid wide receiver. He's definitely good. Like, he's a good route runner. He catches everything. I just don't know if he's a first round pick. I mean, unless he's like runs like a 4.3 40. But he's definitely like he's a good guy that when I see him, I'm like, oh, he's a guy you get in the second round and can probably be a starter for you, a good solid starter for you. But I think that he's got consistent hands and everything would be a good fit there. That's just what I think about him. He's a kind of a plug and play guy, not very big, catches everything, scrappy. He's good in the red zone. That's where I've noticed on him. He's really good in the red zone because he catches contested balls well. So he might be a really good fit for the Browns. All right, Bears. Defensive tackle, safety, edge, offensive tackle, corner. Grab Caleb Banks. Another Caleb there. Caleb Banks, I think, is going to be ascending in the draft. He's a pretty big defensive tackle. 6'6", 325 from Florida. I like him a lot. He's got a big, his ceiling's high, very, very high. So he's someone that actually could end up being one of the better players out of the draft when it's all said and done. You know, a couple of years, like, oh, wow, okay. When they're doing the redrafts, Banks could be drafted, you know, up where the top defensive tackle was drafted. He could either go up or just be like, oh, he was a bust. But I don't think so. I think he's going to be really good. All right, the Bills. Bills are a team that need to build around their quarterback because all they do is rely on their quarterback. The wide receiver, edge, safety, linebacker, guard. They really need to get that defense younger. That defense needs to get younger and quite frankly better. I don't think they're very good. This guy here I like a lot. I think he's going to move up in the draft. I think he's going to move up because of his size, and if he runs well in the combine, he's definitely going to move up as one of the top safeties. I'd grab Warren. You can grab any one of these defensive players, and I'd be fine with it. Just whoever you like the best. But I think he's one of those guys that are going to move up in the draft. I really think he is. And they desperately need a safety. I mean, unless I'm wrong, Bills fans, let me know. I think they desperately need a safety. They keep trying to grab these older guys, and it's just not working. Their defense is too old. That's another coach that should not be there. I don't think McDermott's a good coach. I think Bills fans would agree. He's a defensive guy who's struggled to put together a good team around the best player in the NFL. They should be in the fucking AFC Championship and Super Bowl every year. There's no reason they shouldn't be. With the lack of fucking quarterback play in the league, they should be in the Super Bowl every other year. But they haven't even made it yet. I don't think, has Josh Allen even gone to the Super Bowl yet? His team keeps letting him down. Let me know if I'm wrong. I'm a Dolphins fan. I'm like, fuck, this team should be, with this quarterback they've got, who's a fucking animal, should be in the Super Bowl every year. Get rid of the coach. I think Tomlin needed to go. Harbaugh was a surprise, but Tomlin needed to go. I think the guy from Detroit's probably going to be let go. I think McDermott, who's highly overrated, is going to be let go. I really think there needs to be a new breed of coaches coming in. These coaches there's been too much stagnance. The NFL's been too stagnant. It's been too stagnant. It's these great teams with these great quarterbacks. They haven't drafted well enough. Who off of Sean McDermott tree has gone in the NFL? Sean McDermott's been a head coach in the league for like 10 years. No one. He's terrible. He needs to go. He's holding them back, just like the guy from the Bengals. That guy needs to go too. But they keep sticking with that guy. Sean McDermott needs to go. They need to inject some new life and need to get fucking Josh Allen to the Super Bowl before he can't fucking make it there anymore. All right, I'm a Dolphins fan. I'm going for him. I hope they make the Super Bowl. I think Josh Allen deserves one. But Josh Allen has Dan Marino written all over him. The best player in the league for years, and he just never makes the Super Bowl because his coach sucked. I think McDermott might be a good defensive coordinator, but as far as he just can't put his staff together. Nothing, that guy. All right, 49ers. Wide receiver, edge, tackle, guard, safety. God, Lord, everybody needs the same fucking thing. TJ Parker might be good there. 6'3", 265. Yeah, TJ Parker's the guy I've been eyeing for them. TJ Parker. In fact, I'd probably put him higher. I gotta watch more film on him. And then with the interview, he'd probably jump up with his size and everything. And he's like a 5-star recruit or something out of high school, I think. 11 sacks. Yeah, he looks like a guy that might move up in the draft, actually. Probably should have drafted him up here. My biggest problem is I'm a little bit ignorant to the draft right now, so I'm going off this list, a little bit that I do know about the players. So most likely there's probably better players there, or someone like a TJ Parker should be moving up. I don't know. I'm just going based off of this list and the little bit that I know about these guys that I've seen them. I haven't really gone deep diving in all these players yet. I've gotten into some, but not all of them. All right, the Texans. And they're kind of one of those teams again that just really grab the best player available. I think they just keep stacking talent on that team. Keep stacking talent on that team. CJ Allen, how big is he? 6'1", 235. Old school linebacker. Yeah, I think he's a good fit there. Coach the linebacker if they need one. He's one of the better players available at a need. Just grab him. The Rams have 2 first-round picks. Are you fucking kidding me? All right. Corner, tackle. Let's grab Hood. I actually like him a lot. Hood, the corner. So we've got him the tackle and a corner for the Rams. Patriots. Edge, linebacker, safety, tight end, safety, wide receiver, or tight end, safety, wide receiver. There's really not a lot of edge left. This guy here might be good there. Because he's a 34. They're in 34 defense. Problem is he's short. I think 34 defenses typically put bigger, like taller people on their defense. Boston I like a lot, would be a good fit there, believe it or not. He'd be a nice fit. Because they're a team that don't revolve their team around receivers, but I think he needs to start getting one. The thing Boston is very good. The problem with him, he looks very raw. He's not overly explosive, but he's fast and fluid. He can catch, pretty consistently. I don't think he's a number one right now, but I also think he can go to a team that doesn't, they don't really use a number one receiver. They kind of win more with the running game and defense and stuff like that. In Boston, it just gives him a red zone threat, and if he develops into something big, he can be a steal of the draft with the quarterback, so I would grab Boston. But he's someone that can either ascend in the draft or go down to the second round. Boston to me, but I do like him a lot. I think he's really good. It's weird, you watch him and you're like, he's not that fast, but it looks like people have a hard time covering him, so it's like he might be deceptively fast. I don't know. But Boston's intriguing to me. He's an intriguing prospect to me. All right, wide receiver, tight end, defensive tackle, linebacker, running back. Denver, do they need a running back? Huh, I don't know. Wide receiver, there's not a lot of receivers out there that are worth grabbing the first. I don't think Bell's worth it. These guys are too one-dimensional that are available. Defensive tackle, linebacker, running back. I don't know what they like. With an NFL translatable superpower and natural leveraging burst. Eye-popping power. Okay, let's just grab this guy. I don't know how good he is and how good he isn't. I don't know. He seems like one of those guys that you can put in a team like the Broncos and develop and grow in that defense that he doesn't have to be the main guy in. Thanks, another 34 defense. All right, Seattle. Seattle. Corner, center, guard, edge, running back. There's a really good center in this draft that I like. Let's go this guy here. Go the best center. I always grab the best center in the draft, because they're always going to be good. Anyway, I hope you guys liked it. I hope you guys didn't think it didn't make, too little of sense here. I think the Jets are going to go the quarterback and all that, but I think this draft makes sense to me, especially the top half of it. The bottom half I'm not so sure about because I don't know about a lot about those guys. I could be wrong on some of those. I think Warren's going to Emmanuel McNeil Warren, the guy for the Bills that I picked, is going to end up moving up in the draft. Chris Johnson is like my favorite corner in the draft. I didn't put him there because I don't know. No one's put him up there yet. So, but I think when it's all said and done, I think a team's going to pick him in the first round. Over a Terrell or something like that. But I should have picked him in the first round, but I haven't yet because I don't know where he's gonna, because he looks like he can either be the best corner in the draft or he's just gonna be an average player. I don't know. It's hard to tell because he played in a smaller school. It's hard to tell, but he looks very, very plug and play to me, Chris Johnson. So keep an eye on him. Warren looks like he might move up. Like example, you could easily put Chris Johnson here over Colton Hood. Like in reality, probably that's what I would do, is put Chris Johnson there over Hood. But I'm picking Hood there because he was higher on the list, and I'm kind of ignorant to them. So right now I'm just going safe and picking off the list at that position. But in my opinion, Johnson is like the number 2 or 3 corner in the draft. But I'm not putting him quite up there yet until things are appropriate. But I called the same thing about Emmanuel Forbes. Forbes was never considered a first round pick, and I thought he might be a first round pick, and he got picked there. So. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed. I love the Dante Moore to the Saints. I love that pick. Big Dolphins getting big. I like Jordan Tyson to Tennessee. Reese, I like. The problem with the players like Reese is I think these teams are struggling to put him in a spot. He's Jalen Walker written all over him. Good athletic linebacker, big. Where the fuck do you do with him? What do you do with him? He can rush the passer, but he's not elite. He's a linebacker, but I don't know if he's an elite tackler. He's just a good athlete. He's just a chess piece. That's exactly what I thought Jalen Walker was. So he's going to run into that problem where he could go to somewhere and you'd be watching the NFL in a month. They're like, oh shit, that's right, Alvin Reese was in the draft. Who knows what's going to happen with him? I don't think he's a dominant pass rusher, but I do think he's a linebacker who can cover and blitz through gaps and things like that. I think that's the spot for him. Jalen Walker, same thing. I think Jalen Walker is an elite 43 outside kind of a Sam. That's what I think Jalen Walker can be. Blitz him from through gaps, have him cover. He's good in space. I just think that the Falcons are struggling to find a spot for him. They've kind of put him there, but I think that's where Reese is. You're drafting a very good athlete you can kind of put anywhere. You can put Alvaro Reese a fucking strong safety if you want. I think he can play anywhere. But those guys aren't number-wise productive. That's the problem with them. Alvaro Reese, I mean, unless he turns into Lawrence Taylor, will never be, a top 5 NFL sack guy. But I think he can be one of the best linebackers in the NFL. Which, to me, there's nothing wrong with that. You grab an anchor linebacker, you're good. I think you put Reese in middle linebacker. I think you put him anywhere. And you can put size on his frame too, even though he's pretty big. You can still put size on him. You can see that. Same thing with Styles. Styles is like 6'4", 245, and he looks like he put 15 pounds on him, no problem. But anyway, hope you guys enjoyed. I will see you on the next one.